this place. This place was like the phoenix that rose from the ashes. When the Latinos, immigrant workers, undocumented, agricultural workers, farm workers had no voice, I was in Ohio, and God said, move this movement down to the south, and led us to North Carolina because there was an economic connection with Ohio in the cucumber industry. Mount Olive Pickle Company was the only national pickle company that did not have an agreement with FLOC, and they were exporting their contracts to the south away from the unionized cucumber fields of the north, where when we won that great Campbell Soup fight back in the 80s in Heinz USA and Dean Foods in the 90s, we unionized the entire agricultural workforce in Northwest Ohio so that the companies began to contract more acreage down here in the non-union south. So God said, go take the fight down to North Carolina. And we came here with a great blessing of knowing Sergio's mother, Angelita, whose name is up on the wall, who donated this acre of land that you're on so that the union, the farm workers, from money that we raised with our own hands, could build a building that we are proud of, to have a home to do the struggle here in this area. And this is what you're seeing right now. We built this with our own hands, with our own money. We didn't go out begging to the government. We didn't go out begging to the growers. We didn't out go begging to nobody. We put this place up, and we're proud that you're here with us today because you bring us a spirit and you help us inaugurate something new here, because something new is happening now. Now, we didn't have time to take you on a tour of the labor camps. We wanted to give you a virtual tour, and you see the photographs and you see the slides of there. These are my mothers. These are my fathers. These are my brothers. These are my sisters. These are my children, and those are my grandchildren. And because I grew up with them, I grew up like them. I grew up in labor camps like those and just like those. And things don't change, and they're not going to change until we come together and we say we've had enough. We're not going to put up with this anymore. So we're going to organize ourselves, and we're going to collaborate with other people organizing themselves, because we know sometimes the people that give you problems are the same people that give us problems. That same sheriff that using these workers as cash machines, they know they're undocumented, so they stop them to get money out of them. These are the white rich folks' ATM machines. Right. But they're the same sheriffs that you have problems with. And they're the same county commissioners that oversee the sheriff and the law enforcement and the laws here. They're the same people that give you problems. And those legislators in Raleigh, they're the same people that give you problems. They're giving us problems. So why in the heck are we not working together to do something about this? We're taking on big tobacco. People tell me, you can't take on big tobacco. I mean, you got the big unions that have lost 3 elections in the last 4 years over here at Winston-Salem at the R.J. Reynolds tobacco operation, and they got millions of dollars and you don't have nothing. What makes you think that you can beat those companies? Well, you know what? I don't know. And I don't care how much power they got. And I don't care how much money they got. And I don't care if it's true that we'll never beat them. I don't care if that's true. I don't care if it's impossible. But God said, defend the people. That's what I'm going to do. And if I'm faithful to what I'm being called to do, something's going to happen. I don't know what. And if God says that everything's going to be all right, and that you're going to leave everything to God to deal with those things, I'll leave it up to Him. I'm just going to do what He tells me to do. If He tells me to pick up my foot and put it in front of the other foot, that's what I'm going to do. So He said, come down here and organize. That's what we're doing. So right now, the reason I've been in town for so long is because we're doing the training with these young, brilliant, active staff that we have here. And you know who trained me? You know who the person that trained Cesar Chavez? A guy named Fred Ross. One of these Olinsky guys from Chicago. He's over there in California organizing the community service organization. He found Cesar and trained him. Well, during the 80s, when we were fighting Campbell Soup, Cesar Chavez sent Fred Ross over to Ohio to train me. It took him 3 years to train me because I was such a knucklehead. I finally learned the lesson and trained, and now I'm repeating that training to these folks here. So you're going to have 4 Fred Rosses working out of this office here. They're going to be working. Now, what we're looking at in organizing these workers here in the tobacco, it's not just tobacco. It's 15, 20, 25,000 workers that harvest tobacco, but they also harvest 32 other crops here in the state.
That's right.
It's not just about tobacco. It's just that the tobacco companies are the most powerful and the richest, and we got to get them to infuse cash at the bottom of the supply chain to lift up the economics of these fellows. They don't have to work for 45 stinking dollars a day, working 8, 10 hours a day, and being treated like dogs in the field. So they can be treated like human beings. So they have a right to ask for water and not worry about dehydration and heat strokes. We have a person dying of heat stroke every year here. And we had 2 in a coma still from the heat stroke. And we have these problems every because they're afraid to ask for water. Because just like you saw that movie, The Help, the women were afraid to complain. They're afraid to do anything. Like these workers are afraid to complain because they're afraid that they're going to get blacklisted. They're going to get thrown out of their labor camps. They're 1,000 miles away from home in Mexico. Where are they going to go if they're thrown out by the labor contractor? Something's got to be done to make this right. We are fighting with everything we got. And our organization goes all the way to Mexico. Right now we have an organizer doing meetings in communities in Mexico where we have pockets of members that come under the H-2A contract to harvest tobacco here in North Carolina. Later this month, we're going to be down there training about 80 or 90 leaders in Monterrey, Mexico, before they come up with their work contract to help be cells in the labor camps to organize the people from the inside. But that's really dangerous to do that down there. Santiago Rafael Cruz, that man up there, he was in our office on Easter weekend when people that don't like us, these recruiters, labor contractors in Mexico that bring undocumented people, that bring the H-2A workers up here, we're teaching and training the workers how not to get cheated by them down there, how not to get their money stolen. So we're telling them what the real rules and the laws are so that the recruiters that talk, they know everything so that they don't get cheated. Well, they don't like us because we're doing that. And we have a grievance procedure in our agreement that our members can file grievances in Mexico for recruiting violations of those labor contractors in Mexico that work for these employers here in the United States. And they don't like it that we tell them their rights. They don't like it that they took Santiago, they bound him and beat him to death in our office and sent us a message to stop what we're doing. We're fighting back. We had demonstrations down there. We had a global call for justice to the governor of Nuevo León and the attorney general to do an honest and fair investigation. We've been pushing that investigation for 3 years, and now they caught one person. He's in jail for 22 years. He disclosed the name of 2 of the other accomplices, but the government won't do anything to pick them up because those police people in Nuevo León, the state of Nuevo León, are corrupt. And they don't want to do nothing about this, and they're protecting the other people who murdered Santiago. So now we're calling on President Calderon for the federal government to take over the investigation. We've got our Congresswoman Marcy Kaptur doing letters. We've got our Senator Sherrod Brown writing letters to our ambassador in Mexico City to give us this audience so we can demand that the federal government take over this investigation. And one last thing about that, how widespread this oppression is. One of the other murders was caught crossing the border in Arizona by our Border Patrol. Our Border Patrol knew because of Interpol messages and so on that he was wanted in Nuevo León, Mexico. So they turned him over to the authorities in Sonora. The Nuevo León authorities notified the Sonoran authorities that they were going to send a couple detectives over to pick him up. Within 5 hours, they released him. And when they were asked why did they release him, the police said, well, we got pressure from a family and a newspaper. And the people that came to pick him up were wearing uniforms. So somebody's protecting somebody. And those people who are protecting others, I mean, they're all criminals. But they're tied to the criminals in this country who are oppressing the people down here, who want to make all the wealth for themselves and deny people at the bottom just the ability to live. And just the ability to survive. And there's something that's got to change because everything is getting out of control in this country. So we just so honored and great that you're here, that we have other people that believe in the struggle and are going to want to do something. So you just wait here in a few weeks. We're going to be collaborating. We're going to be moving and getting the people organized in our community, bringing them together with the unionized people that we already have here to build a larger movement. So we invite you to join us. We invite you to be part of this campaign, and we'll be part of yours. Just like the prophet that once said, you have a dream. Well, we all have dreams. All of us. So the saying would be, like the prophet said, I'll let you in my dream if you let me be in yours. Let's share that dream together and make it really come true. Okay, God bless. Thank you.